In the heart of the African savanna, where the air shimmered with heat and the grassland stretched into infinity, a lion named Moyo lived a life touched by something far more powerful than instinct: love. Born to the wild but orphaned too soon, Moyo's life began not with a roar, but with a whimper. He was found weak and trembling beside the remains of his mother, a victim of poachers, and brought to a wildlife sanctuary by a team that had long fought to protect the creatures of this fragile ecosystem. Among that team was Evelyn Hart, a British woman in her late 30s at the time, who had given up everything familiar to dedicate her life to animal conservation. Her hands were calloused not from luxury, but from labor. Her days were not filled with comfort, but with purpose. It was she who took responsibility for the tiny cub, feeding him with a bottle, wrapping him in blankets through the cold nights, and sleeping beside him when he cried. Their bond was not born out of control, but out of survival. Moyo, whose name meant heart in the local tongue, became the pulse that beat beside Evelyn's every day. As the months passed, the cub grew strong, his golden fur thickening, his eyes sharpening, and his legs becoming powerful enough to race the winds of the plains. But he never strayed far from the woman who had saved him. Over the years, as Moyo became the alpha of his territory, he remained close to the sanctuary, close to her. He would rest under her favorite acacia tree during the heat of day, and walk along the perimeter of her cottage in the cool of night. He never hunted the livestock that grazed nearby, and he never posed a threat to the humans who worked beside her. He was wild, yet not untamed, guided by something deeper than instinct. The sanctuary became known not just for its success in conservation, but for the remarkable connection between this majestic lion and the aging zoologist. People spoke of it in reverent tones. Students came from around the world to witness it, and many left in awe, believing they had seen not just nature, but something sacred. Time, however, is not softened by wonder. Evelyn grew older. Her hair turned white, her skin thinned, and her breath came slower. She worked for as long as her body allowed, still making notes in worn leather journals, still visiting the animals with the help of others. But eventually, her health declined beyond the reach of medicine. The diagnosis was terminal cancer, and it came not with shock, but with a quiet acceptance. She asked to remain at the sanctuary, not to be sent to a hospital. The place had been her home longer than any house she'd ever known. It was among the animals, among the rustling trees and calls of the wild, that she wished to meet her end. A quiet room was prepared near the lion enclosure, where she could lie in peace with the sounds of the savanna around her. The staff cared for her with great tenderness. Every evening, Moyo came to rest by the fence, lying silently as the sun set. He no longer roamed far, as if sensing that his presence was needed. When the end grew near, Evelyn could no longer speak or walk. Her body had grown frail, but her eyes still followed the lion each time he approached. And one afternoon, with the air heavy and warm, she was wheeled out into the open, close to the wooden barrier where Moyo waited. The moment was one of stillness, the kind that silences even the wind. Moyo stepped forward and placed his great paw gently on the fence. Evelyn, though weak, lifted her hand and let it rest against his. The touch was light, but its meaning deepened with the weight of a lifetime. Around them, the staff stood in silence. No one moved, no one spoke. Nature had opened its heart. That night, Evelyn passed away in her sleep. The lion did not roar, he did not pace or cry, but he did not move from the fence the next day. He lay beneath the acacia tree she had loved so much, unmoving, eyes open toward the horizon. For days he ate little and wandered less. His strength remained, but the fire in him had softened. The sanctuary planted a tree in her memory inside the lion's territory. Beneath it, they placed a simple stone, engraved not with years, but with the words, "She walked with lions and left behind love." Seasons passed, the winds shifted, new animals came and went, but Moyo stayed near the tree. When visitors arrived, he rarely stirred unless it was dusk, when the air turned gold and the sky sang with the call of birds returning to roost. Then he would rise and walk slowly to the tree, sit beneath its growing branches, and look toward the old cottage. The staff watched with quiet reverence, knowing he was not looking for her, he was remembering. Years turned slowly. The sanctuary remained. Photographs of Evelyn and Moyo hung on the office walls, and her journals were preserved in glass. Her legacy lived not only in papers and plaques, but in the lives of those who followed her, researchers, rangers, and dreamers who had heard the story and come seeking something more than a career. As Moyo aged, his movements grew slower. His mane grayed at the edges, his limbs stiffened. But the tree still grew, and he still rested beneath it. His body would one day fail, as all bodies must, but the spirit of what he shared with Evelyn had already taken root in the earth, the leaves and the hearts of those who bore witness. When at last Moyo passed away, it was not in a dramatic fall, nor under the chase of prey. He was found lying peacefully beneath her tree, his great head resting on the earth, his eyes closed as if in sleep. The wind that morning was soft, and the light golden. Nature had claimed them both in its time. The sanctuary buried him beneath the same tree. Two lives forever intertwined, nourished the same roots. And each year, when the flowers bloomed, the petals fell like whispers onto the earth where they lay. People still come to the sanctuary. They ask about the lion and the woman, and the guides tell the story not with embellishment, but with quiet pride. They speak of the bond between a human and a beast, of respect, of trust, and of a love that asked for nothing and gave everything. And on certain evenings, when the light falls just right and the wind carries the scent of grass and rain, it is said that the shape of a lion can be seen near the tree, and beside him, the faint impression of footsteps in the dust, footsteps that never quite fade.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please comment 1. And if you didn't, just hit like. See you in the next videos.